Oh boy, hold on to your seats for an almost guaranteed Arthas comeback. And check all the content locked behind the Renown grind. Soulbinds receive lots of changes, the weekly chest gets major buffs, and the PvP vendor, well, it has some big issues. All that plus more in On Cooldown, the weekly WoW news show with no grinding required for better rewards.
Hello and welcome to MarcelianOnline. We do class guides and a WoW news show on a weekly basis. And if you're into that, hit that subscribe button and maybe throw a comment.
Because that will help us massively. And you know, it will keep you updated and we can engage in some conversation. And now, on with the show!
Spoiler alert! Although I will do my best to contain the spoilers as much as possible. If you do the Venthyr Covenant campaign, you will encounter Kel'Thas, especially after we beat the first raid. We embark on a journey to cleanse him of his sins, a journey that takes us towards a conspiracy plan where Kel'Thuzad is operating in Maldraxxus. I'll spare the juicy details so you can enjoy the questing at your leisure. But what's actually important is that Sapphiron's model has been data mined and it has the Maldraxxus color scheme, hinting very strongly that Kel'Thuzad has something to do with Sapphiron, which is, you know, Kel'Thuzad's guard. So Sapphiron, Kel'Thuzad, who are we missing here? And yeah, we are definitely missing someone, since Blizzard wouldn't go to all this trouble in putting in more Lich King characters into the game without the one people want the most, hoping for the most and speculating the most. The Frostworm is just a cherry on top of a cake that has been baking since we uncovered the Kyrian Covenant campaign with Uther. The majority of it isn't tied to Arthas, except for a few dialogue lines at the end where Uther claims that what they did to Arthas wasn't justice but vengeance, because there's nobody else that he could be talking about. This was in retort to the Forsworn Devos that told Uther he will get justice for his death, because Uther is actually reminiscing about his death at the hands of Arthas. Now he says what we did to him wasn't justice, it was vengeance. I don't think this refers to the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, since Uther had a faint presence there guiding us towards Arthas' demise. That demise feels like it was supposed to happen the way it did, and it wasn't vengeance. We assaulted Arthas in ICC, plowed through his forces, and fought him at his strongest and actually almost died if not for Tyrion, which means that the vengeance part came after, in the Maw, because Arthas has been confirmed by the devs to be the kind of soul that would go straight to the Maw, but not confirmed to be actually in the game. That's the kind of plot twist they would say for a patch like 9.0 or 9.2. All of this with Kel'Thuzad and now Sapphiron is clear that Arthas will make an appearance. It would be too much of a tease and rooster block from Blizzard to not be the case. At the very least, he could show up at the end tying into the next expansion, although less likely. Because, and if you remember what, it has to actually save WoW. Warlords of Draenor was a big flop, and after it came Legion with the much requested return of Illidan to spearhead the game out of the gutter. It was arguably one of the best expansions so far as a result, at least design-wise. After even the bigger flop of BFA, publicly anyway, only the best designed character would even have a chance to save the expansion, the game. And as it happens, you will be in Shadowlands. I mean, where else would you find Arthas if not there? The question remains, how will we encounter Arthas? As a raid boss? I doubt it. We already freed and fought plenty of iconic lore characters that ended as raid bosses previously. Illidan, Najara, Kel'Thas in the Castle Nathria raid. So, will he be in cahoots with the jailer then? I actually don't think so. Some speculate Arthas did the bidding of the jailer while he was the Lich King, but if you read the book, at the end, where in his mind and heart he sits at a metaphorical table with himself as the innocent human and Ner'zhul, who supposedly steered the entire ascension, he kills them both and becomes his own entity. Reeks of authority issues. Likely he will either be power hungry or maybe fight beside us in what I speculate to be his last sacrifice. The second chances have to break the mold somewhere, and having Arthas back with the living sounds very unlikely. A closure to the chapter of the fallen paladin with the last sacrifice for the greater good sounds a way better ending to that chapter. What do you think?
Renown, the Shadowlands version of alternative progression, or as some would call it, the new IP grind. Okay, I can see your concerns regarding this, since the latest beta got us the first table of rewards locked behind Renowned, and at first glance, you look at this and think,
oh shit, here we go again.
And this because all the Soulbinds and Soulbind slots will be opened progressively as you gain more and more renown. But we already knew this. Ian came out and talked about this in the last developer update. Now obviously you get more rewards, not just Soulbinds. Things like Sanctum upgrades, pets, a lot of item level increases for World Quest rewards, and even a legendary recipe when you reach level 14. But the one thing that keeps popping over and over again on the forums regarding Renown is that
Look, they be doing AP grind all over again.
Listen, AP grinding in Legion and BFA was implemented as a big-ass hamster wheel gameplay with infinite attached to it, meaning you could farm it non-stop and get minimal rewards for it compared to the amount of time invested to grind it in the first place. We all remember Ireland expeditions, right? Renown will not be that, because you have to remember a couple of things about this new system. First, you will get renown from your Covenant campaign, which you will do as part of the late game when you finish leveling up. Second, you will have 2 weekly quests that will get you 1 renown each for collecting souls and anima from the maw. And I don't know about you, but this looks like a cap on farming renown, not a mindless grind like we used to have. Sure, you can be worried in regards to the Covenant campaign being super gated, and that could take a while, but again, if it's gated for you, it's gated for everybody, so you won't feel left behind when compared to your peers. All this on top of them confirming that there will be a catch-up system in case you don't have the time to invest in doing these weekly things. Truth is, we don't have the full information regarding all the possible renown acquisition sources. But what we do have is the confirmation from Blizz that there will be a cap. There will not be any bar to fill, and from the looks of it, any source of renown will give you a full level of it. Now, this might change, but until then, I am 100% behind this version of the so-called new AP grind, rather than the previous ones. How about you? Now that you have a better picture of it, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments.
And today's comment of the day comes from Champ. And he said,
Okay, I will post a comment simply because of the way you keep asking for me to. Wait, did you just mind control me? What the fuck?
Play Havoc. Red is shit.
No more buttons.
Elegance. Fuck it, just do a Fortnite dance.
Dude, this is the fucking wrong game, man. Shit.
Well, it is Fortnite.
Bitch.
Are Covenant abilities the real power gains to be scared about if we get locked out from switching them? They definitely are strong, but honestly, not the strongest in my opinion. In the debate between the community and the devs concerning power gating behind unreasonable time constraints, we may have overlooked Soulbinds and conduits, and with the risk of sounding like a shill, I think Soulbinds and conduits have a much bigger impact on our character than the Covenant ability do, and that is to, align with what the devs said, and not to judge the Covenant abilities too harshly before we get the conduits. This has proven more accurate with the recent nerfs and buffs. Hear me out. Clea, the Kyrian Soulbind, has had 2 changes, the most impactful one being Cleansing Rite, which has been buffed. After 5 seconds out of combat, you gain a 10% max HP shield on you, which does not have a duration anymore. The duration is a nice change, but the effect itself is incredibly good for tanks. Picture this, you are a bear or a blood decay just finishing a pack. You sit for a few seconds so your healer can get everyone back up. Meanwhile, you get a 10% HP shield, which is pretty big, helping you tackle the new pack without having to use defensives or make awkward choices for your rotation. And this is an average inner Soulbind trait. And from the tooltip, it looks like it will be up every time you are out of combat. That's a little bit strong and likely to be nerfed. Another one from the Kyrians is the Sparkling Drift Globe Core, mouthful, that also was buffed. When you dip below 35% health, you stun all nearby enemies for 3 seconds. This has a cooldown of 1 minute internally, reduced from 5. As a tank, well, most tanks anyway, you will drop low often, and an AoE stun is incredible to give you the time to get back up and not die. In dungeons, this will save you wipes, potentially every minute. Like, what? And as the last example to how powerful Soulbinds will be, Ultimate Form was nerfed to not give you 100% CC immune while the Fleshcraft shield is on you, and instead make you immune to CC as you channel it and 4 seconds after. The shield was pretty big, but as a tank and in PvP, that shield would have been depleted faster than those 4 seconds of immune you would get extra after the channel. Not only that, you can use this preemptively now, even in PvE. There are plenty of mechanics that mandatory fear, stun, disorient, etc. people in the group, so negating that can save you a defensive cooldown and essentially keep you in the game for longer. Plenty more than just this, but yeah, Soulbinds are pretty good, and although the Covenant lock is still a thing, it's likely we will be more worried about the Soulbind accessibility than the class Covenant ability. What do you think?
Gather, everybody, we got changes to the weekly chest in Shadowlands, or better known as the Great Vault. You know, the place where you will go on every reset to choose the item you want from a range of options based on the type and amount of content you did the week prior. One thing that may have seemed a bit much for you was the amount of dungeons required for the full-on reward options, because initially you had to do 15 dungeons, which I said this last week, it's a bit too much, and sure enough, lots of other voices spoke out on this, so this week we got an update. The raid bosses remain the same, but dungeons are down to 4 required for the mid-level and 10 required for the max level rewards. An absolutely great change, and much more doable for a lot of us. Now, the PvP reward options got an increase. So, in order to get the biggest pool of gear from PvP, you have to gain a lot more conquest points that week. I mean, last tier jumping from 250 to 850 conquest points, which seems like Blizz incentivizing you to do more arenas or rated battlegrounds and such. And this leads me to the PvP vendor, and I do realize we're still in beta and this could change, but that said, we have an issue here. The gear you can purchase from the PvP vendor does not have all the stat combinations on it. They only have 3 stat iterations on them, and 1 stat combination that is highly regarded for PvP, at least in BFA, is haste versatility, which the PvP vendor does not provide on any of the pieces you can purchase from there. It's a bit problematic for those who only play PvP because their gameplay of choice will not provide them with a full set of gear. This was a big problem in BFA and seems to be moving over into Shadowlands. If you only enjoy doing Mythic Plus, you can get a full set of gear from your desired content to play. Same goes if you only like to do raiding. I like to do all of them, but I can surely understand that your time may not be as elastic as mine. It's not all doom and gloom though, since the rest of the stat combination gear could possibly be obtained from the chest, and that should not be too hard to fill if you only do PvP. It's not clear right now how all this gearing madness will work, but so far, you would be right to say they want to split the full spectrum of rewards into vendors and the weekly chest. Is that a good idea?
Are you excited for this week, man? A lot of things happened for the game.
Oh, yeah.
We lost all of our beta characters with the character wipe.
Very exciting indeed.
But on a good note, we have Shadow Priest reworked, which we actually didn't cover in this video because we do want to make a specially dedicated video for just Shadow Priest, which is gonna come out probably next week.
Yeah, as we always do, we have the Shadowlands class overviews, and with this big update for Shadow Priest. There is a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
So there's already videos out, but we want to do our own thing and get into the nitty-gritty of it. Also, it looks like with this beta build, we had 2 waves of invites. A lot of people got in. There was big problems with the servers, obviously.
That's always gonna go on.
Yeah, but that's because there was a lot of people in, which leads me to believe that we're getting closer and closer to the pre-patch.
So it seems like it, yeah?
I think we'll have probably one more. So all of August will still be beta, probably up until mid-September. I'm thinking somewhere after the mid of September, they'll have the pre-patch, and then mid-October to end October, we're gonna have the release date. That's it. I'm calling it. So pre-patch, 15th of
Well,
September.
that would be great because there's a lot of content drop right now with BFA. I still remain skeptical with the raid being on during the holidays, because if that's happening, that means that
I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna. Or maybe
they're not gonna keep us up 2 months without a raid.
I don't know.
Season 1.
I don't know. I personally wouldn't mind because I enjoy playing WoW during this holidays, so would be okay for me.
that would be nice, but it's, I mean, we're gonna play arenas anyway. So.
Yeah, well, we still have a lot of things to do. There was also the raid testing that took place last night.
Last night and tonight as well. Probably as you're watching this video, the raid testing might have been over.
Already, yeah, completed. But there's good things. I hear about Lord Denathrius was his name.
Is it? I haven't actually checked it. How is it?
Yeah, it's very good things. Well, I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody. So if everybody wants to go check it out, I'm sure there's probably gonna be a lot of streams and stuff. But I'm hearing good things.
Oh yeah, I saw Preach's tweet as well.
Yeah. So really good things, and I'm hearing a lot of good things from our Patreons. Yeah, what do you know? What do you know?
You know what, guys? You're actually supporting this content, the class overviews, and lately our podcast, which you should definitely check every Monday. We already have 2 episodes out. The 3rd one this Monday, and we really appreciate it. And hey, it's not required, but if you like our content and you want to support us a little bit more, just leave the link down below the video. You'll find our Patreon page with all sorts of goodies and more than just the Patreon page, but we'll leave that to you to discover.
Yeah, it's all in the description, and just as a reminder, you'll be supporting all of the Shadowlands class overviews for the future Shadowlands class guides. Once we get it released, you'll be supporting this show right here, which is every Friday, the weekly WoW News show, and also the podcast, MoCast, which is out every Monday. And we have another secret project for your asses, which we cannot spoil just yet, but it's gonna be cringe and cool at the same time.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
The trademark.
Pretty cool. It's cringe is part of the deal,
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. And with all that being wrapped up, Flame.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See you next one.
Next one.
You are